and in Florida, 46. So Jim's question is, well, before I get to his question, to show somebody savings in California because they're paying 46 cents a kilowatt hour is a lot easier than showing somebody savings that's paying 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And hopefully that's logical to you, because with every solar system, there's fixed costs. Like the solar panels are a cost. Now, that cost is the same in California as it is in Washington, pretty much. The inverters, the labor cost, the freight, the trucking, all that stuff is a fixed cost. Now, if you're trying to offset 11 cents versus offsetting 46, obviously it's going to be a lot easier to show savings with somebody that's already spending 46 cents a kilowatt hour. So, Jim, here's what I would say to that. You want to reduce that solar system down, because at 11 cents a kilowatt hour, the reimbursement rate on that, or a lower kilowatt hour rate, the reimbursement on excess energy produced is probably a lot less as well. If it's not one-to-one net metering, you're probably getting 3 cents a kilowatt hour. So you don't want to build a system, a massive system for the homeowner that's pumping out a lot of energy throughout the day to the electricity companies, the utility company, and they're only getting 3 cents back. That means they're spending a lot more money for their solar system to get a lot less back. So you want to build a 60, 70, 75, and you got to play with the numbers in the design tool to see what is the sweet spot for somebody in terms of their best savings. And the other thing about that is that, if you're trying to sell solar on savings in the state of Washington, or in the state of Georgia, in Texas in some cases, where utility rates are low, that's going to be a hard sell, because you aren't going to be able to save them $50 or $70 or $80 a month on their electricity bill. They're only spending $125. So you've got to sell it on convenience and benefit and features of a solar system that can help them potentially with a backup battery, as an example, to offset power outages and things like that. There's other features and benefits to a solar system other than saving money on a monthly basis. But direct answer to your question is pare that system down, start at 60, maybe go to 70, 75, and see what that sweet spot is for that homeowner in terms of, okay, these panels that you're putting on the house are now offsetting this usage, okay, but there's a cost to do that. So is that going to be best at 75%, 70, 65, 60? There's a sweet spot in there where you're getting the best rate of return for that homeowner, and that's what I would present.
So carrying that just a little further then, I appreciate all that. What you're saying is find the sweet spot at a 60, 70, 75% offset, correct?
Correct.
Okay, which means, and I'm bringing this up because I've heard this before but that means they will still have a power bill.
Of course.
So then how do we set the expectations so they know they're going to have a solar bill, and they're also still going to have a bit of, and I'll carry this one step further. If I'm understanding this, let's say we set it at a 60, 75% offset. During the lower usage months, they very well could have no electric bill from usage during those months, but it will show up when they're running their AC or their heat in Washington. So it's going to be in and out, if I'm understanding correctly, where they do have a bill, don't have a bill for grid usage. But the main thing I've heard is setting them up correctly so that they understand if you're not doing 100% offset, at some point they're going to see usage bill from their electric company.
Well, and again, when we do this, Jim, your level of knowledge on solar is a bit more than maybe somebody that is joining us for the first time. So I want to make sure we catch them up before we just have this discussion.
Jump into the answer, right?
Yeah. So understand, though, that every homeowner, there's not a homeowner that we are going to sell solar to that isn't going to have a utility bill. Every homeowner that we sell solar to is going to have a continued utility bill, even if it's 130% offset. Why? Because there's a hookup fee to the utility company. There's still going to be grid tied. We do not do non-grid tied solar systems. Okay, so there's going to be a utility hookup fee there. But as well, if you, even at 120% offset, if you do not tie a consumption battery to that system, then there are going to be times throughout the year. Can you mute people, Brendan? There are going to be times throughout the year where they are buying, and solar systems only work during the day, right? So when the sun goes down, where does that person get their electricity? They got to get it from the utility company or through a consumption battery. Okay. So if they don't have a consumption battery, even if they've got 120% offset, they are still going to be paying something to their utility company for that usage at night, albeit that excess energy they produce during the day is going to offset some, most, or all of that depending on the time of the year. So Jim is correct. Okay, that there are going to be times throughout the year, regardless of offset, where the homeowner is going to have a utility bill. If it's only a 60% offset versus 100 or 120, then they are going to have a utility bill every single month. There's a hope, though, Jim, that what you can do with that 60% offset is you can sell that system at a price that is going to be, with this new utility bill that they're going to get, which is lower, is going to be very similar to, if not less than, what they're currently paying their utility company.
Excellent answer.
If I could just...
Well, that wore me out, man. I
just wanted to start this out with a bang, that's all.
And boy, did you.
Oh, Brandon, you take the next one, bro.
I think one of the things as well is that we have to be very wary, okay, in the respect of this whole thing, and I know where it came from, is this expectation of bill swap, okay? It's actually a pretty dangerous place to be in. I got to swap the bill. We're swapping it from your energy company to solar, okay? We've got to bury that, really. We've got to bury the bill swap mentality, because it doesn't work that way. The reality is that if you give somebody 120% offset and you're like, I swapped your bill. Okay, first of all, again, and just exactly as Dale said, okay, number one, there's always going to be a connection fee. Okay, because that's the backup battery right there. Okay, there's always going to be the connection fee. The next thing that is there is, what if in 2 years' time they turn around and they get 2 Teslas? Are they still pulling in the same amount of energy they need for the output? No. So they've got a certain amount of panels for a certain amount of what they were using at that time. But then if they go out and get 2 Teslas, now their usage has gone up. Are they going to get a bill from the electrical company? Yes. Okay. So depending on what their movements are, how much electricity, now we're going into a world where there's a lot more heavy electrical usage coming along this way. So it is inevitable that that's going to increase. Now, which is why it's important in discovery to find out what is it you're looking to get in the future in proper discovery to make sure that you're covering for that increase. Okay, that's going to come. The other thing that you really want to be focusing on is not how much can I save you in your bill, because it really is a little bit false, is with this whole bill swap. You want to picture the whole situation of the kilowatt hour usage. There's a cost. When you can work out the cost of the kilowatt hour usage for that electric company, for argument's sake, let's say they're buying at a retail rate energy per kilowatt hour of 15 cents per kilowatt hour. When we build a system, okay, and we can build it and we can see we're getting it for 12. So now you're turning around to the homeowner, you're saying, look, listen, forget about savings and this and that and the other. You're in the middle of the road with your vehicle. You have a gas station over there and you have a gas station over there. This one over here is going to charge you 15 cents per liter. That one over there is going to charge you 12 cents per liter. Which one are you going to choose? It's very clear, right? They're going to choose the cheaper one. That's what it comes down to. And when you can show that type of savings and you can focus on the kilowatt hour savings, that's really what you want to be focusing on, because that's really what most of solar is focusing on, is instead of the bill swap. Now, obviously, out of that, depending on what it is and how much you tweak it, there's going to be additional benefits. Oh, hey, listen, buying it at this rate, I've actually reduced my bill by this amount per month, or this is what my savings are going to look like over 25 years. Now you have additional, you got the features, the advantages, and the benefits. What is the benefit, the outcome of me getting it at this price? Now you have additional stuff to talk about, okay? So when we focus on the bill swap, the homeowner psychology is focused on one thing. My bill has to come down. What if the bill doesn't come down right away? What if there isn't month one savings right away? What if that comes in a year and a half to 2 years, but then the overall benefit is like, well, hey, listen, you're going to be spending a little bit more right now, but in 2 years' time and over a period of time, you're saving yourself $53,000. I will take that deal every single time because the long-term savings are more powerful. So when we shift our focus from bill swaps, then we tend to understand it better. We understand where the feature is, where the advantage is, and where the benefit is. Okay, so I just wanted to kind of add that in real quick.
Before we go to Craig, going back to what Jim was asking about, which is where the utility rate's very low, and I was saying you want to build a smaller system. So even at 60%, let's say, 40%, I looked at a house the other day because of the juxtaposition of the roof planes. I could get them 43%. There wasn't any more room on the house, right? Even at that, now most people would say, well, geez, isn't the homeowner going to be disappointed because you can't offset 100% of their usage? Well, even at 43%, what I'm doing, or what we're doing in this industry, is we are insulating that homeowner from his energy rates going up for 43%, right? 43% of his energy is protected for the next 25 years. I'm sorry, your house is the way it's set up. I just can't get you 100%, but I'm getting you 43, right? I'm insulating 43% of your costs, so it's not going to go up in the future. So we're still protecting those homeowners. Craig Nagasugi, what's going on, man?
Well, nothing much. How's it going with you guys?
Nothing much.
We just thought we'd come out and hang out with you guys, have a
Yeah.
chat.
That's why I'm here. I'm lonely. Okay, so mine's a fairly straightforward question. Is anyone else having issues setting up? I have an issue setting up Everbright where I can't enter a new lead. The button won't highlight where I can enter a new lead. And I've been trying to, respond to them, email, chat. Chat just hangs up on me all the time. Everbright gives me the automated emails, and then maybe someone might get back to me. And then I try what they say, and then it doesn't work. The bottom line is I need to do a proposal, and I'm stuck. Now,
Craig,
Everbright works fine with Better Earth. I can enter a lead, but when it comes to ESP, I can log in, no problem. But when it comes to entering a new lead, it won't highlight that button.
Okay, Craig, then that's best for us to maybe jump on a Zoom together and see if we can figure it out, or get a hold of, I forget the gentleman's name at ESP, that we can call directly and see if we can get him to work through it with us, or we can use my Everbright, if mine's working and yours is not, that type of thing.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
I personally haven't done an Everbright with ESP, so I haven't encountered that problem. So I don't know that we can help you on this, but we can work through it.
I know that there's some people who've been trying to kind of build in Aurora and stuff like that. Obviously, we got a lot of new installers coming on right now, so we're kind of getting used to it. But I know we had somebody who was trying to build, and he's like, I can't get anything happening in Aurora, nothing's happening in Aurora. And this was for Better Earth. And I'm like, okay, so here's what you need to do. Go to Better Earth Pangea, enter the lead there. When you enter the lead and the information from Better Earth Pangea, then you create it and it'll open up and say it's ready for for Aurora now. Now you open up in Aurora and you can carry on from there. So sometimes you need to enter the lead in a separate place in order for it to open up something like Everbright or something else. But Dale will take a look at that as well and see how that's going to operate.
Do you think I should just go ahead and default over to Better Earth, or?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say so. I mean, you could if you want, but with ESP, I've been using the Enfin leases, and to me, they're just super easy, simple. The design tool's awesome, which is Aurora, by the way. So if Everbright just doesn't work for you, then Enfin is available to you right there through ESP, and it's quick, it's easy, it's simple. We know it because it's Aurora design tool. So Everbright's good too. I've sold a lot through Everbright, but that's not your only option with ESP.
Okay.
Any other questions, anybody? There we go, George. Perfect. Go ahead.
Hey, gang, you always do a great job. Just to maybe a feature request, I think for the fast start, because we're moving everybody to move them to the Rapid Funnel app. Could they put a request in to say, could you create a video that teaches them how to go get their ID to load them in and how to fast start on the Rapid Funnel, because moving them there, it's made it so stupid simple for new people. I just like to recommend if somebody could let them know that would be something extremely valuable to get people that you first bring in.
Yeah, we can definitely bring it to attention. I believe they're actually already have it on their roster first. I think one of the things they're trying to do first is just add some of the content, get some of those things sorted out so that they can create a video that's going to be not them having to recreate the video. It's like, let's get it right first and let's create the video so we don't have to keep on changing it. So I think they've got that in play, but we'll definitely bring that to attention. Thank you,
Thanks.
John, Carnegie.
Good morning. Again, Dale and Brandon, I want to thank you for the fact that it was highlighted that you are volunteering to be here and sharing the knowledge. That is important because most people don't know the amount of time that you're taking, even out of your business activities, to make that happen. So I want to acknowledge that. And earlier this week, there was a request by poll that Nick had put in for people who might want to help also be able to present. And so what I'm asking is, where would we find the most recent compliant available presentation slide deck, so at least we can get up to speed and even start doing some private trainings with prospects and get up to speed to do the kinds of great things that you guys do.
So what they're doing at the moment, so they wanted to find out how many people were interested in doing something like that, so then they can start putting together a process of how people can come and get access to the slide decks to learn how to do it, because there has to be some slide deck changes first to make sure it's on point. It's exactly where they want it, because once it goes out to everybody, it's like, okay, now I can gain ownership and I can go crazy. So the key thing is to make sure that the slide deck is compliant before it starts flying out everywhere. Is that the information's correct? So they want to make sure that they're doing doing any changes with anything first. So that's coming into play. They just wanted to find out, is there enough people out there who are interested for us to start putting this together to create some kind of format so that we can get some more people who could potentially present. So fantastic. They do know there's a lot of people who are very interested, so they're going to start putting that on their roster for people who want to learn how to do that and put that into place. But as soon as they have that, I promise you they will make it public, and anybody who wants to start learning how to present will have access to that, brother. So thank you for putting your name up there and for wanting to be a part of that, because there's nothing more than I'd love to hear the business overview presentation being presented in that baritone voice.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely be happy to do that. The other thing too is the Mike Fettig presentation in Rapid Funnel is fantastic. It was recorded in May, so I'm wondering if you could just have a note that as soon as they have the updated version for him, that he's able to share that as well. But it's fantastic without question. People are saying, "What's going on since June?" I was like, "No, it's new stuff. Come on in, check it out." Thank you so much.
For sure.
Craig.
Pleasure. Craig.
Deja vu. Okay, here I am.
Deja vu.
Okay, here I am. I'm your problem child.
Dale said,
When Dale said, go to Enfin, I'm like, oh, okay, that's reasonable. I'll go to Enfin. Well, I know why I originally went to Everbright. It's because when I go to when I log into Enfin,
you have to do that short.
you have to do that training video, right? It's like 27 minutes.
Then you certify,
and
you watch it,
then you certify, you watch it, you hit submit, and then it takes you to your dashboard. Okay, no problem.
The problem
Well,
is
the problem is every time I log in, it asks me to do that video
27
again. 27 minutes. Every single time. And it doesn't matter if it's Better Earth or ESP. I have to watch it before I can access the dashboard. Now, I've tried to email them, and I got an email from some Natasha at Enfin, and she's supposedly the partner support, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I shot her an email. Guess what? Their email server rejected it.
Craig,
So,
Craig, hold on a second. You're throwing a lot out there. Okay. Enfin, they just changed their whole email platform. I've been getting a lot of emails from Enfin partner support people, like the partner support person for this company or that company or whatever installers that I'm associated with, and they're all updating their email address. So it's not like they're out of business or whatever. It's just they changed email platform or server or whatever it is. So they are. But going back to your issue, and Brandon started to bring it up, what you can do, there's a little box below that video, I believe to the bottom left, and you can click that to say, I certify. 3 seconds into the video, you can click and say, I certify that I've watched that video, and click next, and you're in. Okay. Now it shouldn't, to your point, it shouldn't be happening to you every time you log in. That could be an issue with your, are you always logging in on the same browser, or are you using different browsers?
No, same browser. And okay, so I just tried that right now and it worked. But every other time I tried that, it says,
well, it
there's a
worked,
problem,
Craig,
contact
because
this
you're getting the energy from Brandon and I this morning. And
that
so
must
it's
be it.
translating
So,
over to you.
you know
And
what?
therefore, things are now working for you because you're with us. When
you
you're
know
on
what?
your own, it gets all screwed up. I know, but just call us, and that energy that we can project 3,000 miles away will help you immensely.
Thank you, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
But I'll help you with Enfin because I love Enfin.
But I'll help you with Enfin because I love Enfin. I love the simplicity of it. If you've got an issue, let me know. I can't today. Today's booked solid, but tomorrow I could jump on with you and we could work through it. Okay.
All right, that sounds good. Yeah, because I got to do Chris. We got to knock it down a bit.
We'll talk about that.
Um,
Okay, man.
All right.
Okay. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that. All
Okay.
right, man.
all right. Thanks.
Any questions?
Michael Burgett.
Any
Richard
questions?
Pilecchia, Ali
Michael
Sintek.
Burgett,
No
Richard
from
Pilecchia, Ali
these
Sintek.
folks.
No questions from
Amazing.
these folks.
I don't think we need to
I don't think we need the Solar Saturday anymore.
Does anybody want to know how Dave Brown is bringing
have
in?
any
Does anybody want to know how Dave
Raise
Brown
your
is
hand.
bringing in so many people into Reach? Does
All right, I'm
anybody-
gonna
raise
ask
your
a
hand.
question. I got a question.
Okay, no, oh, Ally's got a question. Okay.
Also Swim Saturday.
Sorry, it's Solar Saturday and it's also Swim Saturday. Can you explain for the new people, which I learned from David Williamson this week, about how if you can't do a full offset, or how it may make sense to do like a 50% offset with the battery because of the price of electricity and the bell curve of the pricing, and how like 50% with a battery or two is better than nothing for people, especially in non-zero net metering states.
Well,
So I think we covered that pretty well.
Do all of that.
When we started, and I don't know if I've got the energy to redo all of that, to be honest, but
Specifically, just a no net
recording
metering.
out, just put it out.
No
there.
net,
let's
the no
let
net metering,
Brent.
zero net metering.
Zero net metering.
Well, when you say zero net metering, what do you mean zero net metering?
I got 2 homes in Texas that do $0 per dollar.
So
Zero net metering.
Meaning that the excess energy
Okay.
that's being pushed out to the grid.
So zero net metering, meaning that the excess energy that's being pushed out to the grid by their solar system during the day, because they're producing excess energy, they get no credits for, right? Okay. So if that's the case, okay, then that is a little less advantageous than someone getting 3 cents per kilowatt hour. And so a lot less than someone getting one-to-one net metering, which would be their retail rate that they're paying. So all of the things that we talked about earlier, when Jim asked this question, apply. They still apply to what Ali's talking about. It's just that they're not going to get credit when, again, their solar system is working during the day. They're not using a consumption battery, let's say. So therefore, that energy is being pushed out to the grid because it's excess of what the house needs during the day. And it's getting pushed out to the grid and they're getting nothing for it, which means that you want to build that system a lot smaller then. Because why pay for a solar system that is only benefiting the utility company at that point? The utility company would love every kilowatt hour that you push out to the grid if they're not having to pay you for it. They love it because they're getting free energy. They're getting energy at a lesser cost than what they normally buy at wholesale from whoever they're getting their energy from. So you need to build a smaller system at that particular point. Which is, and Ali, what utility companies are those in Texas? Do you know? Because I haven't heard to this point, and I'm not a Texas expert. Richard, I think, knows more about Texas than I do, but what utility companies are paying zero reimbursement rate? And oh, by the way, in Texas, one of the little caveats about Texas is a deregulated market. So if you have a homeowner, it was just triggered. Okay. If you have a homeowner in Texas and they're getting zero return for producing excess energy to the grid, they can switch utility companies. They are not locked in like we are here in Florida. We have Duke Energy here. I can't get any of my energy from any other utility company besides Duke Energy. In Texas, they can switch utility companies just like that.
Yeah,
they wouldn't let us switch. This girl was a mile away. She had no choice. Zero switching. Not 100% always the case.
Well, if it's in Texas, Ali, Dave, I want Dave to talk about this because it seems like he knows something about it too. But there's a website, Ali, where if you put in an address and a zip code, it'll tell you the utility. In Texas, utility companies cannot prevent you from switching to another utility company. It's deregulated market. So you want to research that a little bit more. Go, Dave.
Thank you.
The point of a deregulated market is that you get a choice, and the states fought for that, so that, these big monopolies can't control them and just say, okay, you can only come to me. So yeah, I can definitely help. Send me a message. I'll help as best I can.
Anybody else on here? Do you know?
There you go. Yeah, Texas is a deregulated. Are there anybody else on here? Do you know of other states that are deregulated like Texas where homeowners can? There's a website. And I've got it somewhere. Yeah,
There's
Right, do you hear that?
Texas,
One at a
there's
time.
parts of the state that is still regulated.
It's still regulated.
Right, do you hear that? Not all of Texas is deregulated. There are some markets that it's still regulated.
They're municipal.
Say, yeah, 13. And
There's
there's about 9 states, but what I've told, I've had a couple people say, yeah, 13. And when they say, well, I chose this, that, and the other thing, my response was, you chose the billing agent, not the grid. It's the same wires coming to your house.
Correct.
Same grid, same costs. So, and when they get it, they're choosing billing agent, not source of electricity. It helps settle in a little bit better. We're going to look at grid versus solar, not billing agent.
Treat it as if it's like California.
And if it's a regulated market, then that's when you want to go into consumption mode. Just treat it as if it's like California.
I'll let you explain that.
Well, so it's basically like
Hey.
And why is that, Richard? I'll let you explain
They're
that.
giving you any credits.
Well, so
Essentially,
it's basically like if it's regulated, they're not giving you 1-for-1, right? Or they're not giving you any credits. Essentially, it's similar like a net tariff or net billing, right? So it doesn't. There's no value in sending energy back, right? Kind of like we just mentioned earlier.
So what are you doing
3
with a
cents or whatever.
consumption battery then? So it's just explain very simply.
Yeah, consumption battery is instead of going to the grid at night, you're going to your batteries. So during the day, you're getting your power from the solar system, and then any need that the solar system cannot provide, you're going to tap into your battery, and you're avoiding tapping into the grid altogether. So you're essentially using your battery as if it was your utility company, and you're just bouncing back and forth between battery and solar system, avoiding the grid altogether.
Yeah, that's why when you're building the system, you want to build it in a way that you're working on what's the total usage, what would be any excess that's going to be going out to the energy company. Instead of sending that out to the energy company, it's actually charging up your battery. So then at nighttime, when you would normally be pulling from the grid, you're actually pulling from your battery. So you're sending as little to the energy company as possible. So you're not really relying on them pulling back at night, you're pulling from your battery.
Hold on a second, Peter.
Yep.
We'll get to you in a second.
Smart.
And again, you
The
have to
other thing
play with
there
that.
is that
You got to
you
play
got
with those numbers.
Batteries, see what that does
Hold on a
for
second,
you.
Peter. We'll get to you in a second.
Way to go with that
But you got to play with those
particular
numbers.
homeowner
You got to
and
add a
rate
consumption
and
battery, see what that does for
consumption
you.
battery off, see how those
Is that the
numbers
way to
compare
go with that particular homeowner and their energy rates and things like
The
that?
other
Pull that
piece of it
consumption
is
battery
that
off, see how those
a lot
numbers
of these
compare,
states,
things like
in
that.
California,
Peter,
have time of use
did you
charge.
have a question?
Yeah,
or was-
so the other piece of it is that a lot of these states, like in California, we have time of use charges. So when the solar goes down in the evening, that's the peak rate. They call that the duck curve, right? And that's when you're paying the most. So with a consumption battery, you're preventing those peak charges, and then you're refilling the battery later when the energy prices go down, because not everybody is at home and running all their appliances and things like that. So once you understand the time of use charges and how it fluctuates over the day, then I think that gives the full picture to Ally for people who are new to understand how a consumption battery provides that opportunity to reduce their overall solar bill. That's all I was going to say. Thanks. Sorry.
Well, in California, Peter, that's a no-brainer, right? In California, it's almost a must that you do consumption batteries for what Peter was talking about. When you mentioned time of use rates, that's a term that not everybody's familiar with if you're new to solar. So what that means is that there's usually a rate, and then the hours could fluctuate, but let's say from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. during the day, there's a rate. And then there's another rate from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m., which goes way through the roof, right? Someone yesterday was saying 64 cents a kilowatt hour. They're paying time of use rates in California. Okay, crazy money for between 4 and 9 p.m. And then at 9 p.m. it goes down again. Okay, so three different rates throughout the day depending on when you're buying your electricity. So what Peter's trying to say is, if you put in a consumption battery for a California homeowner, the sun is going to charge that battery through the day from the solar system, which is free. Okay, and then at night at 4 o'clock, you program that battery to kick on, and instead of buying anything from SDG&E, PG&E, or Southern California Edison, you're now getting that energy for free from your consumption battery until it drains, which could be at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. It could go all the way through the whole night, by the way, just depending on how much energy your system produced and charge the battery for that particular time. And then the next morning when the sun comes up, one of the things that the inverter is going to do, it's going to send energy to the house, but now the excess energy is going to be sent to your consumption battery again, and it's going to charge that battery all over. And that's a cycle that happens day in and day out and day in and day out. In California, consumption batteries are almost a must.
I think we got Sasha here who has a question. Sasha Watson, if you could unmute yourself and ask away.
Hey y'all. Yeah, so my question is pretty much, I have been trying every possible tactic I can on LinkedIn and Facebook to try to get somebody to click something, and everybody's looking at it, nobody's clicking it. I've tried like, do you want to make extra money? You know, I'm paraphrasing, of course, it's long, a little bit longer. Nobody's clicking anything. Is there some tips or something that I can get somebody's attention with, or am I going to just putting it on my feed is not enough? Do I need to go into like a specialized group, or how should I go about that?
So when it comes to social media, people don't go to social media to look at ads and all of that. So the best way to do that is to actually just reach out to them in a personal way, attract them to your Facebook or your whatever platform you're using by first just putting out really positive and nice things and things that make them want to come to you and talk to you. Then as you do that in the engagements, in the comment sections and stuff, then you can reach out to them individually and talk to them on a personal level, build a little rapport, and then as you start talking, they'll tell you what their needs are, and then you can suggest, make suggestions and send them your information. Then you're going to get a lot better results.
Gotcha. Okay, I understand. So it's more of a personable thing. So that leads to the next question of where, because anyone that I know personally anything about, they don't care about solar. So if I'm looking online, where would be the best places to look for potential people to take advantage of it?
Well, the thing is that a lot of people aren't interested in solar right away. They don't know anything about it. And what they do know is just what they hear, which is most of the time very misleading. So it's up to you to be the educator. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. Well, my family too are a bunch of coal miners, and they feel like solar's coming in and taking away their livelihood. So, that's what I was meaning there.
But a good conversation there is, to kind of to feed into that a little bit, into their coal mining and stuff like that. What a lot of these energy companies are doing, they're also going solar. They're putting solar fields right there in their on their properties, right? And they're taking those into community solar. It's going into a lot of ways, and one way or the other, you have our government that is incentivizing our country to switch to renewable energies. So one way or the other, they could be saving money now or saving money later. But here's the thing, for those that aren't going solar right now, they're paying for the people that are going solar. So having that conversation, really educating them and just kind of bringing it up lightly is a great way to start.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. That really does help a lot. Thank you, guys.
Just another quick question. What state are you in presently?
Me, I'm in Virginia.
Virginia. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to save more money in Virginia,
I think Virginia's a great solar market. It really is.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I heard that they were.
Thank you. I'm writing all this
down. I apologize. Go ahead.
If you want to save more money in Virginia, there's also more ways. They got community solar over there as well. Reach out to me.
Hey, Dave, I was just going to also add to that. Sasha's.
All right. Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm writing all this down. I appreciate it, y'all, a lot.
There's not a whole lot of.
Okay, anyone else?
Down in that area.
Hey, Dave, I was just gonna also add to that, Sasha's in way South Virginia, down about the border, and there's not a whole lot of prosperity down in that area. So if you have any tips or can reach out to her and how to connect with that too, because she's working really, really hard to get this going.
Thank you. Thank you, George, for mentioning that.
Yeah, definitely,
one of the
Sasha,
great
connect with
things
me
about
on
our business
Facebook or
platform
directly,
is
and
that
I'm
if
happy to help
you
any way I
work
can.
for traditional
Okay,
solar
yeah, I'll
companies,
do that.
Sasha, or
I'll
anybody that's in
look
an
for you on
area
Facebook.
similar
Thank
to
you.
hers,
Thank you, George, for
business
mentioning that.
or political
You know, one of the
mindset
great
or
things
whatever
about
it
our
might
business
be, right?
platform is that
You'd
if
be stuck,
you worked in a
right?
for a
Because
traditional solar
you
company,
would
Sasha,
door knock
or anybody that's in
and
an
you
area
get
similar
leads
to
fed to
hers
you
with the
by your
economic
solar company.
or political
What's so great about
mindset
what
or
we
whatever
do
it
is
might
it
be,
doesn't
right?
matter where you live,
You'd be stuck,
right?
right?
You can
Because
use
you would door
technology.
knock,
You
you
can
would
use the
get
phone
leads
to
fed
call
to you
people that
by
live in
your
areas
solar
that
company.
are
What's
different
so
than
great
your
about
area
what we do
to
is
see who
it
they
doesn't
know.
matter where
You know,
you
who do
live,
they know that's in real
right?
estate? Who do
You
they know
can
that's in
use
mortgage business? Who do they know
technology.
that
You can
is a
use
home
the
improvement
phone to call
contractor in
people
their
that live in
area, maybe
areas
in
that
Northern Virginia,
are different than your
maybe
area
in New England,
to see
maybe
who
in
they
Florida,
know.
maybe in
You know,
wherever.
who do
It
they
doesn't
know that's
matter.
in
You
real
can
estate?
build
Who
your
do they know
business
that's in
all
mortgage
over this
business?
great
Who do they
country,
know
guys.
that is a home
And
improvement
spread your
contractor
wings
in their
and
area, or
not
maybe
be
Northern
shackled
Virginia,
by
maybe in New England,
constraints
maybe in
that are
Florida, maybe in
regional
wherever. It doesn't matter. You
in
can
effect.
build your
So
business
just want to throw
all
that
over
out
this
there.
great country of ours,
Think global. Well, not
and spread
necessarily
your
global.
wings
You
and
have to do
not
business
be
in the United
shackled
States.
by
You install solar in the US.
constraints that
Well, I'm
are
gonna think
regional
universal. We're just gonna bypass the
in
global.
effect.
Let's go
So I
universal.
just wanted to throw that
All
out there.
right,
Just
let's
think
install solar
global.
on
Well,
Mars.
not
Let's
necessarily
do
global,
that.
because we only do business in the United States. We can only
We got
install
a
solar in the
question
US.
here
But
from James
Well, I'm gonna
Cook.
think
Can
universally. We're just gonna
can solar be
bypass the
lit
global. Let's go
somewhere other
universal.
than the roof?
all right, let's
The answer is
install
yes.
solar
There
on
is
Mars.
something
Let's
called
do
ground
that.
mounts, and spacer is
We got a
available.
question here
There's,
from James
carports
Cook. Can
that
we,
are also
can
options.
solar
So
be
yes,
built
there's
somewhere
options
other than the roof?
depending on
The answer
the
is
home,
yes. There
the
is
space,
something called ground
and a lot
mounts,
of different
depending on the
factors.
amount
So
of
yeah.
space there is
Can we reach
available.
out to
There's
commercial customers? Not
carports
as yet.
that are also
We
options.
really,
So yes, there's
obviously we
options
understand that
other than the
commercial
roof,
is a big
depending on
play as well.
the home,
But one of the
the
first things that we want
space,
to do is that we want to make sure
and a
that
lot of
we've
different
got our
factors. So yeah.
residential
Can we
side
reach
really
out to
taken
commercial
care of, and we
customers?
have
And not as
everything in
yet.
place.
We
Once we get
really,
that
I
in
mean,
place
obviously
and
we
it's
understand that
pairing
commercial
very
is a
well,
big play as
then
well.
we're in the
But one of the
situation
first
where
things
we
that we
wanna
want to do is
kind
that
of
we want to
go
make sure that
into
we've got our
the
residential
commercial space as
side
well,
really taken care
to
of,
take
and we
care of
have
that.
everything in place.
Back over
Once we
to
got that
you,
in place
Craig.
and that puppy's purring really well,
Thank you.
then we're in the
Hey,
situation that
Sasha,
we
just
want to
a,
kind of get into
suggestion.
the
If you're in
into the
Virginia,
commercial space as
and
well,
looks like Dale said,
and
don't
take
be
care of that.
tied down to a particular
Back
region,
over to you,
but
Craig.
if you want to stay in Virginia,
Thank you.
there's a lot of money
Hey,
from
Sasha, just
Richmond
a
local to
suggestion.
DC.
If you're in
A
Virginia,
lot of money.
well, it's like Dale said, don't
Those
be
things become
tied
less of
down
an
to a
issue.
particular region. But if you want to stay in
Yeah,
Virginia,
I just wanted
there's a
to-
lot of
just
money
wanted to
from
toss that.
Richmond northward to DC.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
A lot of money.
So going back
So,
to the commercial,
those things
just wanted to
become
throw
less
this
of an
in.
issue.
If we decide at some
Um,
point in our future as a
and,
company to do commercial, that's
Yeah,
almost
I
like
just
having
wanted
a
to
different
I just wanted
division.
to toss that out.
Commercial solar is
Beautiful.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
different than
So going back to the
residential
commercial,
solar.
I just wanted to throw this in.
It's a
If
much,
we
much
decide at
longer,
some point in our future as a
even though some
company to
people
do
think
commercial, that's
residential is
almost
a
like
long,
having a different
sales
division.
cycle.
Commercial
90
solar
days
is
ish,
so very
commercial is a
different
much,
than
much longer sales cycle. There's a
residential
lot of
solar.
other factors that
It's
come
a
into
much,
play.
much longer,
So to me, we would
even
have
though
to
some
have,
people think residential is a long
group of
sales
people
cycle,
as
90
commercial
days-ish,
expertise to run
right?
that for us. So that
Commercial is a
big
much, much
enchilada
longer
that
sales
maybe
cycle.
we'll
There's a
get
lot
to,
of
I
other
don't know.
factors that
But
come into
not
play.
today.
So
George
to me, we would have
asked,
to
can we
have,
tell the customers
you know,
outside the US we
a a group of people with a commercial expertise to run that for us. So that is a big enchilada that maybe we'll get to, I don't know, but not today. George asked, can we sell to customers outside the U.S.? We cannot. We only install solar in the states that we're in, which I correct me if I'm wrong, which I think the number right now is 35, Brandon, 35 states in the United States. So selling outside the United States, I don't think is anything that's on our horizon right now. We are wanting to increase the number of people that are going solar here in the United States. states, and we also want to increase those 35 states to more as well. So we've got.
I think we're currently sitting, well, from what I'm seeing, I'm not sure if that one's got updated yet. Currently sitting at, it's shown 29.
Yeah, they may.
29.
29. Okay.
See, that number moved.
What changed? It was 35 yesterday.
Yeah, I thought someone said 35 yesterday, so that number seems to move depending upon
Yeah, they
our
may
new installers kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, we have that feature now where you can go into the marketing section down on Business Info, and you can find exactly what states we're in right there.
Specific reason why.
You know, I'm going to do that right now because I want to know the answer to that
35.
question.
35.
Well,
Good.
everywhere
Because
that
I'm part of an organization that helps people become procurement ready.
Specific reason why I looked at that is that I'm part of an organization.
35. 35.
Good, because I'm part of an organization that helps people become procurement ready for the federal government contracts. And I had a call yesterday with the founders of that company, and I'm going to plug them in with Mike and Casey and David, because organizations that are federal contractors are best in class, no matter what people say in the media. And number two, there's many military veterans, and what I'm working on is an infrastructure so that we can fill the gap. They're doing housing for military bases, they're doing HUD housing so that they have all the capabilities, but then put that virtual framework together so we can get to 50 faster. So that's what I've been working on.
Great stuff, John. Thank you. What percentage of households currently uses solar? It's currently between 4 to 5% right now. Market penetration in the US, so there is a huge growth that is waiting to happen there, George.
Peter put in pergolas and solar shades, and I'm not sure if that was a question or something that he wanted us to address, but some installation companies will be able to do pergolas and solar shades, and some installation companies will not. So if you have a customer in a certain area that would like a pergola or a carport or what have you to have solar on it, those things are getting popular. They're very expensive to do, but it's someone with a lot of money, that money's not an issue for them and they just want to have it the way they want to have it. Then you work with your team or company sales rep, and that person, we can find out from the installer in that area if they can do a pergola or sunshade or other trick solar installation.
Let me just address that real quick, Brandon. Few minutes we have left.
Anyone else?
Just for everybody.
We got 6 more minutes.
We were associated.
There was a question in here about when will we get back the states that we lost. Okay, so let me just address that real quick, Brandon.
Yeah.
In the few minutes we have left. So just for everybody, right, to kind of go back to square one, we were associated with some national solar installation companies, Titan Solar and Freedom Forever and SunPower at the launch. Titan Solar, well, let me say this, that national installation companies that are trying to expand their territory around the United States and offer solar as one company in 40, 50 states have been running into challenges. Okay, Titan Solar ran into that challenge and they have now ceased doing business. SunPower, same thing, they have now ceased any new business. Freedom Forever is finding it their challenge with being consistent with customer service around the country. Some areas they do a very, very good job. Areas they don't do a very, very good job with installation. So the powers that be, the infinite wisdom in our company said, listen, what we need to do is we need to work with the very, very, very best regional installation companies around the country. So what John Bush and others in our company have been busy doing is vetting out the very best regional installation companies and companies with an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. And I haven't seen one of our new installers that doesn't have an A+. There may be some, I don't know. But 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 stars out of 5 on Google reviews. Those kinds of things, so we know they're taking good care of customers. We know they're going to get the installation time down and that project finished for the homeowner on a timely basis, all things. Now, in this process of moving away from these 3 national giants, we did lose a few states. So the question is when are we getting them back? And we're getting them back very, very rapidly. So that is a priority for John Bush and others that he's working with, and Veronica Call as well, who's one of our co-founders. So I'm not sure which states we don't have that we did. I think Tennessee is one of them, and there may be others. But though I'm not saying Tennessee's not a priority. Okay, every state is a priority, but Tennessee has some very, 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 very low energy rates. So if we're going to get Tennessee back, or we're going to concentrate on getting South Carolina and North Carolina back, we've got to set priorities. And so we did bring back South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. As of yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, we had a meeting to get people on board with the installation company, but those other states will be coming.
That you're having that has got you
Brandon?
a little stuck or a little